Okay, everyone, welcome back. So, I know last time I complained a bit and said I felt like we'd hit kind of a low point because some of the games were not very interesting, but I think we're in for some better material this time. Actually, I did a little bit of looking ahead at the games that are that we're going to be hitting in this video, and I feel good about some of them. So, last time we finished off with Heavy Water Jogger, a not really very good game, but at least somewhat original game. But the next game in our list is Helius, and I remember this game. This game, well, it's let me show you. It's in Sophomore 7 Pro 5. Sophomore 7 Pro 5. So this game does have a nice. At least I thought it had a nice. Oh, it claims there is some documentation for this program from DOS. I guess the documentation is in the game itself. Let's go ahead and run Helius. Joystick not detected, loading, and there we have a wonderful representation of Starry Night from is that Van Gogh? I think that's Van Gogh, but anyway, Helius. Sometimes it's spelled with the O that you see here, and sometimes it's spelled without. A little bit confusing there, but anyway, you can see in the lower left it says press S to read the story. So let's read the story, because this game, the first interesting thing about this game is, oh yeah, it says, first off, I know you won't believe my story. That's all right, you don't have to believe it. I'm not going to read the whole story, but basically the pretense here, the premise behind the game, is that aliens from outer space visited this guy, and they basically left this game on his computer. So the guy who, obviously in reality, actually developed and published and released the game, pretended and kind of made up the story that he just found this game left on his computer by aliens, which I think this is the only game I've ever seen that has a premise like that behind the story. But it really has very little to do. Actually, it has absolutely nothing to do with the game itself. So, if you, like I said, if you want to read that story, then you can go ahead and read it. I'm not going to read it because it has nothing to do with the game. So let's just go ahead. Oh, there's also, you can press I for the instructions. That's nice. The instructions are how to register the game. Uh, Supports joystick, but not recommended. Use the keyboard, much easier. I don't actually have a joystick on this computer anyway. How to play, so yeah, left, right, up, down is basically movement, and then control and alt do other stuff. Oh, and spacebar maybe too. How to experience the game. Once again, man, games back then had a lot of text. These games must have been this must have been an era when people read more, because there's really not that much reading associated with games today. I mean, you just kind of get into the game and start doing whatever, but you don't have this whole expectation that somebody's going to read a several pages long in-game manual before they play the game. It just isn't really something that you see very often. Even in very cerebral games like real-time strategy games or things like that, you don't usually see stuff like this. But anyway, all right, so that was the instructions, which I didn't read. It's basically the arrow keys and then maybe a couple of other keys for some other stuff. So let's press enter to start the game. So this looks very weird. It does look like something that might have been left by aliens. You use the left and right arrow keys to move that thing around. Kind of looks like an elephant trunk or something. And this is basically the level selection screen. So you point, each of those colored balls represents a level. So you point at it to select a level, and then I guess you press enter. Yeah, you press enter to start the level. So this is the game. You are that light blue or cyan colored ball, and you move around with the arrow keys. So the premise is basically the ball is full of air, and you can only propel yourself by spewing air in a certain direction. So if I want to move right, for example, I'll press the right key, and see what happens is air starts coming out the left side of the ball like that. So the only way you can move around is by expending the air that you have inside you, and if you run out of air, then you die. That little windmill thing down there, is an air pump, and if I move over it, it's going to start inflating me. But you can't let the ball get too big or it's going to burst. So basically, you can't let the ball get too big or too small. So I'll go ahead and pick up a little bit of surplus air there. See, the ball starts developing those cracks in it when it gets too big. That's a warning that you're about to pop and you shouldn't get any more air inside you. But the air will slowly disperse as I move around. So I believe you have to pick up. I did actually finish this game, or at least this shareware version of the game, believe it or not, which is kind of hard for me to believe now looking back on it because it actually gets quite difficult in some spots. But I guess that just reflects on how much spare time I had when I was a child. I'm just realizing I have no idea what that symbol on those blocks means. When I was a kid, I thought these were some kind of Chinese characters, but I don't think that's actually Chinese. It almost looks like it says R2. It's probably meant to be some alien symbol. I have no idea. I mean, why would aliens use Chinese? I'm sure they have their own alien languages that they use. So anyway, I mean, realistically speaking, okay, I realize the game was not actually made by aliens or left on the author's hard drive by aliens. That's just a silly cover story. But it is made to look like something kind of alien, and yet maybe aliens have concepts familiar to us like inflatable balls and concepts of propulsion using expulsion of gases and things like that. It kind of reminds me. It reminds me now that I think about it of Osmos. Those of you who have played Osmos, which is a much newer Windows game, kind of an indie game about not exactly planets. Well, actually, now that I think about it, what are you in Osmos? You're not really a planet, but it kind of seems like it takes place in an outer space sort of setting. Anyway, you're some sort of celestial body that propels itself by spewing gases out one side, and then you move in the other side because of Newton's. I think it's Newton's third law, action and reaction. I think that's Newton's third law of motion, or is it the second law? I'm so ignorant I don't even remember Newton's laws of motion now. But anyway, here I can get some more air. Let's get a little more. And okay, that'll do for now. That flashing thing down there is a teleport. So if you go through that, you'll go to another area. So this part is pretty mellow. This part is pretty straightforward. You don't really have to contend with too much here. There are no enemies in this area, I don't think. So this part's pretty easy. Later on, the game gets a lot harder because there are enemies, a lot of sharp things flying around that try to hit you, and of course they'll take a lot of air out of you that if they touch you. So as I said, the game does get pretty challenging in some levels, but somehow I beat it as a kid because I was really just that bored or just had that much time. Yeah, that's the level end, I'm pretty sure, but you can't actually end the level until you collect all the blue gems, and then once you come here with all the blue gems and touch that flag, then it turns into a symbol. And out here, see those symbols on each of the levels? You can adjust these with, I think, yeah, if you press Control or Alt, that'll cycle through the different symbols, and basically you win the game by putting the correct symbol on each of those circles, and then you get some kind of ending, I think. I don't remember what the ending is. It probably wasn't worth it, but it's about the journey, not the destination, right? So anyway, that's Helius, and there are, what is that, 9? Yeah, 9 levels in the shareware version. I think there are 9 again in the 9 other new levels in the registered version. So, pretty good game. I do like this game. I do like that it's very original. I mean, the fact that the author used the premise of alien visitation as a pretext for the creation of the game kind of gives you an idea of how outlandish or how otherworldly or weird or creative he was trying to be, which I guess is nice in a way. I mean, it's not that creative of a game necessarily, but it is a good game in my opinion. So there we go. Once again, Helius. I give it a thumbs up, and it's shareware, even though Mr. Sean Puckett claims that he did not make the game, so he's taking money for the aliens' hard work. But that's capitalism, isn't it? All right, moving on. So that was Helius. Next is Joust VGA. This is exactly what you probably think it is. Those of you who are into soft action Joust, those of you who are into classic arcade games probably know exactly what's coming. Let's see, can I? Oh yeah, there is actually a nice documentation here. This game is from 1990. I didn't realize that Joust was that old, but I guess it is. So yeah, if you remember a lot of classic arcade games, it's likely that you remember Joust. It's certainly, of course, it's not as classic as Pac-Man or Tetris or Space Invaders, but it's still a pretty classic arcade game. Most of you have probably seen this game at some point in your lives if you are an old school gamer. So There you go. Dave Sharpless is from Oberlin, Ohio, not to be confused with Berlin. Berlin. Because Berlin is a city-state. Okay, so let's go ahead and run Joust, if I can spell it correctly. And we see the VGA before we see the Joust, so maybe it's VGA Joust by Dave and Ron Sharp. Let's press a key. And here are the top 10 scores. Seems like War has gotten some pretty good scores. And yeah, now we can press Q, P, F, or space, and during the game we can press S. We can press S, ESC, Alt, and caps. All right, I guess so pressing P. I'm pressing P and it doesn't seem to be doing anything. I guess it doesn't really matter. Can I press space to start the game? Okay. Here we can choose how many lives we have. We can choose 10, 30, or 80 lives. Obviously, I'll choose 80, which is the easiest option because I want the game to last as long as possible. And, oh, this is going a bit fast. Let me slow down DOSBox just a bit. There we go. That might actually be too slow. Let's see. How do I move? Okay. Yeah, it's a little too slow. Let me see if I can. Okay, so to go left, use Z or Z, and X is to go right. And is he? Am I actually diminishing that? I'm actually wearing through this, or is that just a graphical glitch? I don't know. Anyway, how do I? Oh, there we go. Alt is flap. All right, so here we go. So this is Joust. So if you've never played Joust, the premise is you have to collide with those things, but you have to be higher than them when you collide with them. So basically when two of these birds hit each other, whichever one is higher wins, and whichever one is lower dies. So you want to be on top. Whoops, I died there. Yeah, that pterodactyl shows up if you take too long, as I obviously have been. And it's very difficult to kill the pterodactyl because you have to get the lance directly in its mouth. It is possible to kill it, but it's not something you should really count on unless you're really used to killing the pterodactyl. And I'm doing terribly at this because I seem to remember having a lot of fun with this game, but it seems that... Oh, I think I just bounced off that guy because I think we were at the same height. So we actually... If you're at exactly the same height as the guy you bounce into, then you just bounce off each other and nobody dies. But normally, one person is somewhat higher than the other, and then, again, whoever is higher is the victor. There we go. And when they drop eggs, then you should pick up the eggs for bonus points, and if you don't pick up the eggs, then they hatch into new enemies. So let's try and get this fellow, if I can... Wow, I'm bad at this. Like I said, I seem to remember being better at this game than this. I mean, I wasn't great at this game, but I'm either out of practice, or I'm distracted because I'm talking, or... just maybe the controls, I can't really blame the keyboard. I mean, I just have 3 keys to press. It's not like really, I'm just not timing this very well. I'm just not judging the, wow. I am just not judging the, wow. I am terrible at Joust. I swear I used to be better at the game than this. I mean, I wasn't a great Joust player, but I swear to you folks, I was better than this at some point. I must have really gone downhill, boy. But anyway, that's Joust. I actually really like this game. It is a good game. It's a fun game. It's a nice premise. Just basically fly around, run into everybody, and make sure that you're higher than... Oh, okay, I just flew right into that lava. So after a few levels, then the sides of the bottom fall off there, and then obviously things that go into the lava will die, including eggs. If eggs can fall into the lava, and then they just disappear. I think it doesn't happen yet. Yeah, it doesn't happen right now, but I think in another few levels there'll be a hand that reaches out of the lava and tries to pull you into it. So, yeah, see that egg? That egg is gone. I think it's around level... Oh, is that already... Okay. The reason I did that was I wanted to see if the hand would reach out of the lava, but apparently it doesn't do that yet. So, probably in wave 5. Alright, anyway, I don't want to spend too much time with this because it is... I mean, it's just Joust. It's not an original concept. It's a game that, again, probably most of you have seen before in your lives, and if not, then this... probably shouldn't be your first introduction to Joust, but Does that hand still not show up? I mean, it's not the most thrilling thing in the world. I mean, the way I keep talking about the hand, you would... Oh, there we go. Yeah, there's that hand that tries to reach up and grab you. So, okay. I'm very happy that I was able to show that to you folks. Let's quit Joust. And why can I not quit Joust? Doesn't let me... Oh, Q. I was pressing escape, but that quits the in-game play, but Q quits from the game screen because I don't know how to read. Okay, let's come back here, and that was Joust. Okay, Keen Secret of the Oracle. This is obviously, I think most of you probably realize this is Commander Keen 4, which was the shareware version of the Goodbye Galaxy duology. It wasn't a trilogy, it was just 2 games. It was Commander Keen 4 and 5. This is Commander Keen 4, the shareware one. I feel confident that most of you have seen this game before, but again, for completeness' sake, I might as well go ahead and show it off. So it's in Sophomore Keen 2. We saw earlier the very first Commander Keen game from Invasion of the Vorticons, which was an EGA game with slightly wonky controls and PC speaker sound. This is a much more impressive game, but this version, I don't know why they did this. The Gamefest CD, for some reason, you'll see in just a moment, you might, if you look in the upper left, you'll see it only supports CGA graphics, not EGA. So you'll see exactly what that looks like. Yeah, it looks like that. It's 4 colors. You don't get even 16 colors of EGA. You get 4 colors. You get black, white, magenta, and cyan. That's it. So it looks kind of, I'll be perfectly frank, it doesn't really look very good. I mean, I do like old school graphics, but in a way this is a little bit too old school for me. I mean, it's Commander Keen, so it's not a bad game. It's just, let's see, I usually configure these games before I play them, even though I don't know why I bother, because I'm just making a quick video, so I don't really need to configure it very much, but yeah, okay, let's go ahead and start a new game, and I'll play it on easy, because this game is quite difficult for me, even on the easy setting. I don't know why, I'm bad at games. So, yeah, it's Commander Keen, so you can jump around, you can do all the normal things that you can do in Commander Keen, you just see only these 4 colors, and they're not even very attractive colors. I mean, quite frankly, they're kind of garish, gaudy colors, in my opinion. But then I'm one of those people who doesn't really like the ZX Spectrum either. If you've ever seen a game from the ZX Spectrum, the Spectrum really uses very bright, very saturated, sort of almost neon colors, which is not necessarily a bad thing if you like that, but I think it's an acquired taste. Oh, those things you can kill by landing on them with a pogo stick, as I just did. If you like that sort of coloration, like if you really want to experience something reminiscent of an LSD trip without actually taking the LSD, then okay, I guess that could work for you, but this kind of thing, it just really, I mean, I don't mind a little bit of color here and there. I mean, certainly color lends a lot to most visual experiences, but if it's really just so bright and so color saturated and there's no contrast, no contrast with muted colors, then it just kind of looks, in my opinion, rather garish. But anyway, what can I say? It's Commander Keen. Again, I would be surprised if many of you folks haven't seen this before. I mean, there might be somebody who's never seen this game. I'm sure there's probably somebody who's never seen this game before, and that's fine. I mean, there's nothing, no shame in not having seen the game, but I think most of you have seen this already. It's a pretty well-known shareware game. I did actually play this, I think I made a video of me playing this several years ago, except it was the EGA version, and so it had more colors. Yeah, it really makes sense to play the EGA version. Again, I don't know why they included this EGA-only version on the CD, but they did, so it looks like this, and that's what you get. So, okay. I think I've already said that like 3 times, so let's go ahead and quit Commander Keen and get back into the menu. So that was Keen, Secret of the Labyrinth. Okay, next up is... did I say Secret of the Labyrinth? Secret of the Oracle. Next game is Ken's Labyrinth. This is a cool game. This game I always felt was kind of underrated. It's basically, well, if you haven't seen it, then let's see it now. Before I start talking about it, let me at least show you the game. So it's in Sophomore 7 Pro 9. I should probably get into the habit of showing the games before I start talking about them because it's a little bit silly if I start going on a huge talk about the game before I even show you what it looks like. I'm just curious, what's in this catalog? This is Epic Mega. We saw before Apogee's old catalog. Epic Mega Games also included a catalog with their games, as you can see. So, yeah, here's Ken's Labyrinth, Zone 66, which is not on this CD. I think it's on the Gamefest 2 CD, if I remember right. Solar Winds, I think that is on the CD. We'll probably be seeing that later in the series if I get that far. Dare to Dream, which is a kind of a point-and-click Windows adventure. Jill of the Jungle, yes, of course, a classic platformer for DOS. Pretty sure we will not see that on this CD, but it is on the Gamefest 2 CD, I'm pretty sure. Bricks, yeah, it's kind of like Tetris, except not really Tetris. I seem to recall liking the music about Bricks, but I didn't really like the game itself very much. This is, what is that? Ancients. Oh, this is oh. I think we might be seeing that later. I remember seeing Ancients: The Death Watch. Yeah, it's a RPG. It's like a first-person RPG, and not a very good one. Overkill is, I think this is a vertical scrolling shooter. Kilo Blaster is also a vertical scrolling shooter. Castle of the Winds is a RPG for Windows, which I actually spent too much time with, as I tend to do with most RPGs. Adventure Math Deluxe. I think I've seen that, but quite frankly didn't spend too much time with it, which might explain why I'm bad at math today. And here's ordering information, Epic Mega Games, yeah, okay. All right. Oh, they have all this information for ordering around the world. You can order in New Zealand. You can, order in Auckland, New Zealand. You can order in Ringsted, Denmark. You can order in elsewhere. Boy, all this information. Now press P to print an order form. Well, I think instead of that, I'll. Where's the game? Oh, Ken. Okay. Oh, I think I probably should have set up the game first because I think we should already be hearing music at this point. I think I might have made a faux pas in not configuring the sound and music for the game. I'm gonna guess yeah, I should probably quit out of this and well, this is the game. It's a first-person shooter, but let me quickly run setup and see. Let's see here. Graphics mode. All right. I guess this is a little bit bigger. Maybe that's better. Digitized sound. Yeah, obviously. I mean, Sound Blaster. Sure. Music source. Yes. Let's do. Ad-lib music. Obviously. Input devices. Yes. Keyboard and mouse. Okay. Okay. Let's try that. Let's try running Ken again. Whoa. That is quite loud in my ears. I'm hoping it's going to be quieter in the video because I have the game sound turned down in the video. But wow, that is actually quite loud. I guess I could speed up DOSBox. Thank you. That is Ken Silverman, who made the 3D engine for this game, and episode 1 is shareware. So you can choose easy or hard difficulty. Obviously, I'll choose easy. So here's some story, which I won't bother reading, and I wonder, can I change the volume here? It's probably not going to be that bad in the video, but the volume here is really loud in my ears. Wow, this game is loud. Okay, I'll just go ahead and play the game. So, this is Ken's Labyrinth. It's... uh-oh. Did the game just crash? I think the game just crashed. It probably doesn't like my Sound Blaster settings. It probably tried to play a Sound Blaster sound effect when I tried to open that door, and that caused the game to crash. Well, that is a bummer. I wonder if I can fix the. Yeah, I can't seem to do anything. I wonder, is there an option to restart DOSBox? Because I'd like to just somehow cycle DOSBox and start over, but I don't think that that's an option. I wonder, okay, can I just quit out of DOSBox and, I'll have to see, okay. I'll probably go ahead and stop the video here and see what we can do, because I would like to show off some of this game. It's not a bad game. Ken Silverman, the guy who made the 3D engine for this game, of course, is the same guy who went on to make the Build engine, which is probably best known for being the engine that Duke Nukem 3D was based on. Also was used for Shadow Warrior, the original Shadow Warrior, not the recent reboot / remake. And it was used for, I think, a couple of other games as well. But anyway, all right. Sorry, folks. I'm of half a mind to just restart DOSBox and move on to the next game. But since I've already been doing this for almost half an hour, I might as well just stop here, and we can carry on next time. And hopefully, I can get the sound working in this game and maybe show you this game. So, thanks for coming along, everyone. Sorry that it was cut a little bit short, but it wasn't really cut that much short, I guess. I think it still saw some nice games, some nice stuff in this episode. So yeah, hopefully, like I said, next time we will carry on from where we left off. Until then, take care, folks, and I will talk to you later.